After The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, the Zelda series would return to the Wii. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was released in 2011, and while it was acclaimed at the time, it's now polarizing for its pacing and reliance on motion controls. Without further ado, let's dive into The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is the earliest game chronologically. In the distant past, evil forces invaded the world in search of the Triforce. The goddess Hylia sent the surviving humans into the sky for safekeeping, before sealing the evil underground, and the survivors settled on a floating island called Skyloft. Many years later, Link competes in a race to advance in Skyloft's Knight Academy and to participate in the annual Wing Ceremony with Zelda. While celebrating his victory, Zelda is pulled to the surface by a tornado, and Link is incapacitated. When he awakens, he sees a mysterious entity and follows her to a legendary blade known as the Goddess Sword. Fi, the spirit of the sword, reveals that Link is the hero chosen by Hylia to save the world alongside Zelda. To find Zelda and fulfill his destiny, Link sets out to the world below the clouds. Along the way, Link encounters Girahim, who's trying to find Zelda to resurrect his master. At the Temple of Time, Zelda and her guardian Impa escape through the Gate of Time, and Impa destroys it to keep them safe. To access the second Gate of Time and reunite with Zelda, Link sets out to find 3 sacred flames in order to strengthen the Goddess Sword. Visually, Skyward Sword is very unique. It features colorful and stylized character designs, and its vibrant environments draw inspiration from Impressionist paintings. Its audio design is also superb, with a fully orchestrated soundtrack that features many of my favorite songs in the series. Regarding its gameplay, Skyward Sword is somewhat traditional. Link can explore the sky by riding a bird called a Loftwing. Along with Skyloft, there are many floating islands with side quests or collectibles. Using ancient tablets from the initial dungeons, columns of light disrupt the cloud barrier, allowing Link to fall to the surface. The surface is divided into 3 regions, and each is visited multiple times throughout the adventure. There are also bird statues in each area that are used to save the game or return to the sky. During the second visit to each region, Link must enter the Silent Realm to complete a trial. In these areas, he has to collect 15 sacred tears while avoiding guardian entities, and he can't use weapons or items. The Guardians awaken if a set amount of time passes, if Link touches waking water, or if he's spotted by a Watcher. Collecting sacred tears resets the timer, and there are also light fruits that show the locations of sacred tears for a short time. There are 6 traditional dungeons, with 2 in each region. While they're fundamentally similar to earlier dungeons, Skyward Sword features some of the most intricate level design in the series. Unlike in the previous games, the dungeon map also reveals treasure chest locations and points of interest. Instead of a boss key, there's a puzzle key that must be aligned with an opening on the boss door. While many items return from earlier games, some have new functions, like rolling bombs or stealing from enemies using the whip. New items include the beetle that can pick up and drop objects remotely, cut webs or vines, and activate distant switches, and the gust bellows that are used to blow away enemies or piles of sand. Similar to sword beams, Link can charge a skyward strike by holding the Goddess Sword upwards. The sword can also be used to douse for specific characters or items. Link can also play the Goddess Harp, which is used to open trial gates to the Silent Realm, and activate Goddess Walls or Gossip Stones. Certain items are classified as gear, including shields, bottles, and medals that provide specific enhancements. There are also multiple types of shields, with different durabilities and weaknesses. Collectible treasures can be found and used to upgrade items and gear. Link can also catch bugs, which can be used to improve the effects of potions. By completing specific quests, Link is given gratitude crystals. These are used to help a friendly monster in Skyloft, and different rewards are unlocked by collecting specific amounts. Across the surface, there are also goddess cubes that activate goddess chests throughout the sky. Link retains many abilities from the previous games, but there are a few changes. In addition to rolling, he can sprint for a short time. There's a stamina gauge that drains while performing specific actions, like climbing, sprinting, and performing spin attacks. He can also perform a shield bash to parry enemy attacks or deflect projectiles, and shields don't lose durability when successfully timing a shield bash. In addition to attacking from a distance, the Skyward Strike is also used to activate Goddess Crests and Goddess Cubes, and charging the sword allows him to draw on Goddess Walls. The controls heavily rely on motion inputs. The A button is used to sprint, and the B button equips items. Holding the B button and the minus button activate selection wheels for items and gear respectively. The Z button is still used to lock onto enemies or characters, and the C button switches to a first-person view or activates the dowsing mode. The D-pad is used to call Phi or recenter the gyro controls. Using the Wii Motion Plus accessory, it's possible to precisely swing the sword and other items in different directions. The menus and items like the Gust Bellows and the bow use gyro aiming. There are also tilt controls for riding the loft wing, controlling the beetle, and swimming underwater. Shaking the nunchuck performs a roll while sprinting, or a shield bash during combat, and shaking the Wii Remote and nunchuck together performs a spin attack. After finishing a playthrough, Hero Mode is unlocked. In this mode, certain cutscenes are skippable, Link takes double damage, stamina drains faster, and there are no recovery hearts. The upgraded Skyward Strike and collectible treasures and bugs are also retained from the previous playthrough. While I really enjoy Skyward Sword, it's very flawed. The motion controls can be too imprecise to consistently attack enemies with specific weak points. The pacing is also inconsistent, with multiple revisits to earlier areas, intrusive dialogue from Phi, and a sparse overworld. Along with a Wii U Virtual Console release in 2016, Skyward Sword was remastered for the Nintendo Switch in 2021. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD features improved visuals at a higher resolution and frame rate. There are also some changes to streamline the gameplay. Certain dialogue is now optional or absent entirely, and cutscenes are skippable by default. There's also a Zelda and Loftwing amiibo, which acts as a temporary warp point between the surface and the sky when scanned. With Joy-Con controllers, it's possible to use motion controls, but there are also button controls. In both modes, the button mapping has been reworked, like using the ZR button to equip and use items, and holding the B button to sprint, and there are also manual camera controls. Using the button controls, motion inputs are mostly tied to the control sticks, including using the right stick to perform sword attacks, so the L button must be held down to control the camera. Items like the slingshot can utilize gyro aiming, and gyro controls can also be used to move the camera. While its pacing and level structure are generally unchanged, and the motion controls must be recentered more frequently due to the lack of a sensor bar, I still think Skyward Sword HD is the definitive version for its higher frame rate, quality of life improvements, and additional control options. Despite its faults, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is still one of my favorite Zelda games. Its creative level design, unique atmosphere, and strong supporting cast make up for its shortcomings. While it's very divisive, I still recommend trying it, especially Skyward Sword HD because of its reworked controls, streamlined gameplay, and improved performance. With that being said, thank you for watching, and next time I'll be going over The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.